everyone. Okay, so this is our sketch for today. And it has a lot of photos, which for some people makes them super excited and ready to go. And for me is daunting. I am a very kind of like 1, 2 photo kind of girl, right? So this is a little daunting for me, I gotta tell you. But I think I have a plan. So this is our sketch. I'm actually going to, don't laugh. I'm actually going to add photos to this. So each of these 4x6 spots are going to be 2 3x4s. And the reason I'm doing that is because I decided if I was working with a sketch that had a ton of photos on it, that I was going to do an event, or sometimes we take, well, we did before COVID, we took day trips. So I thought, well, I would do a layout about one of those day trips. I live in a part of Pennsylvania that's very rural, so we have lots of like little festivals and different things that go on throughout the year. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and if we're doing it, let's do it up. So I have lots and lots of photos here. I've already kind of trimmed them down, but they're all photos of our trip to the maple syrup festival. One of them, this one, is a bit longer, so we're gonna have to deal with that. So I have the 3 that go across, but then this one's gonna be a bit longer, and I'm cool with it. We'll make it work. It'll be all good. Because of this longer photo, I think I'm gonna move my title up here. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for journaling yet. I'm not even quite sure what I'm gonna do for titling. I pulled out my Go Now Go. I have the paper pack and I have lots of embellishments. The reason I pulled this out is because, so this festival, the Maple Syrup Festival, comes during this early spring. So this is like March, April, but look at those colors. Like they're like total fall colors. Even my kids are like wearing orange. So I needed a kind of fall colored line, but I needed something that wasn't fall, that didn't scream fall. So the way I'm going to deal with that is I'm going to use this collection from Go Now Go. Now I also pulled out a stamp set because I was looking at these florals, and I have this stamp set from Alts New called Simple Flowers. And so I might, maybe, if I need to, I'm not even sure if this is going to happen or not, but if I decide I need some more embellishments or something fun to work with outside of what's in here, I have these off to the side ready to go. I also have the 6x6 paper pad. So what I did was I want to try to do a pattern paper background. So, but these papers are really thin. I could not use one of these as a background. But I went ahead in my stash and I grabbed this super thin textured cardstock that I'm never going to use for a background, again, because it's super thin and textured. And so I'm going to kind of adhere one of these thinner papers to there and kind of thicken up my cardstock a bit. So those are my plans. Oh, and I grabbed some washi. I grabbed some copper washi because the sketch has these little areas here and here. And so I thought maybe these 2 pieces could be some of these washi tapes kind of layered up. So I just grabbed all the copper ones. I'm not sure what we'll use. I'd like to use this one because look at how close I am to finishing it. Oh, that'd be awesome, right? This one has a little more on it than this one, but this one I could almost finish. So I also grabbed some Nuvo drops in dark crystal drops. These are in dark walnut to add maybe some little splatters or sprinkles around it. All right, I'm going to start by picking my background paper, adhering it to this white sheet of cardstock, and kind of pulling some supplies from my embellishments I want to use, and then I'll come back and we'll put it all together. So I decided to start with this background that had these kind of stamps on it, travel stamps. I liked the colors, and I thought that it wasn't too super busy. I also discovered as I was going through my Go Now Go patterns, because I have the paper pad, I don't have the B-sides. Actually, I did have the B-sides, but I used them all because I had all the papers, the double-sided cardstock papers. But I used all those already. So I needed to find something that was a little bit less busy. So I decided on this one for my background. And then for the piece that is going to go over my photos, I had to go and do a little stash diving. And I went stash diving deep into the vaults of stash diving. So I chose this paper. This is a crepe paper from a time when crepe paper didn't put dates on their papers. It's yeah, it's really old. I actually have 2 sheets of this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use that because the tones of that B-side worked really well with the rest of my layout. And I thought it would make a nice background for all my photos. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off that branding strip. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of organize my photos, get them where I want them. I'm not worried too much about, you know, following placement necessarily exactly like it is on the sketch, because I know I'm adding a bit more photos, and I know that my design aesthetic means that these photos need to have a bit of a border around them. So my ultimate collaged piece is going to work. And as I started working with this, I realized that actually this is totally my style, because when I do have, I say this all the time, when I do have a lot of photos I want on a page, what do I do with them? I collage them together, just like this, trim them up, and then treat them as one section of my layout. And I generally do not veer from that type of a design concept when I'm dealing with large amounts of photos. I also, when I get my photos developed like this, and I have lots of photos from one event or one trip, I do get them all printed at 3x4 just to make it easier. And then I can always trim them down. Like some of these started out as 3x4s, and then I trimmed them down. So the 2 squares are 2x2, and then that larger one is like 2 by maybe 3. And so I'm just laying these out exactly the way I want them, and then we're going to go ahead and trim them up, trim them around the edges. And you can see how moving my title is a really good plan, because that one photo is a little tall, and it's going to give me a nice block of pattern that I can easily add a title to. Also, this isn't the Maple Syrup Festival. It's it's called the Maple Sugar Festival, not maple syrup. So I'll get to that as I do my title though. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim all the way around the edges of this paper so we have a nice border, and that nice color is around the photos as well. And then instead of cutting that bottom piece with a straight edge, I'm going to tear the edge. I felt like that worked really well for my layout. And you can see here, once you get that collage down, we don't have a whole lot to work with. But I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up the edges. And I'm also going to fix this little portion that is a little bit crooked, but didn't work. It's still crooked even in the finished layout. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this collaged piece down. I end up not using the stamps, and I end up not even using my Nuvo drops that I had pulled out, those dark walnut ones, because in the end I had enough of the just go now go embellishments to fill in the little bit of embellishment area I had to work with. I'm going to go ahead and use the washi tapes here. I'm going to start with this coppery one, and I'm going to pull that all across. Then I'm going to layer on this white one that has the copper hearts, and that's going to be this piece that goes across the bottom and then across the top in the stencil. I thought washi tape would be a really great use for that. At some point, I need to do a video using a ton of branding strips, because when I was putting this away, when this layout was done and I was putting it away, I realized that I have tons of branding strips from this collection, the decorated branding strips. So I'm gonna have to come up with a really kind of cool layout design for those. Okay, now I'm gonna go up here and do the same thing, just layer on that copper heart foil and then the copper solid foil. So I need to work on my title and my journaling. I do have a bit of journaling for this layout, nothing, earth shattering, but I wanna talk about, in the pictures, the kids are eating what they called spatza, which is something that they only make in Meyersdale, which is where the Maple Sugar Festival is, and it's actually really interesting. It's yummy too. So I wanted to kind of journal about that little bit and to journal about some of the things we saw and did while we were there. So I'm just going to add this little journaling box. It has like a little house on it, which may seem kind of odd, except that one of those photos is there is an old historic house in Meyersdale that's part of the festival grounds that you can tour. And so some of the pictures in that collaged photo is that house that we toured. So the house worked. Okay, so next up, I am going to go ahead and kind of decide on some stickers for my title. So I have the journaling box down. I know where I'm going to be writing. Now I have to go ahead and kind of figure out my title. I'm going to use these stickers. So these are in the Go Now, we're in the Go Now Go sticker sheet. And for whatever reason, I never used a single solitary one of them. So I decided, let's go ahead, let's use that one up. And I double checked, which, what the festival is really called, because I kept calling it like the Maple Syrup Festival or whatever. It's Maple Sugar Festival. And I'm going to use these thickers. So these are copper thickers. I'm not sure where they are, or what they're called. I am currently still on this kick of wanting to use up some of the stickers in my storage. And I had enough to spell festival, and it was that beautiful copper color that's in the collection. So I just realized as I was kind of voicing this over that this is a very Shimelle heavy week on my channel. I did Never Grow Up on Sunday for my Share and Create. I did her original collection. I used the papers from her original collection to do my Traveler's Notebook spread for Cut to You on Monday. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab Go Now Go for today's video. That wasn't planned, not at all. And this will probably be the last of my videos this week that will utilize my stash of Shimelle, but that's okay. Because that was what was working for my pictures this week. It's just that simple. So I have my title there. I think I'm searching for my thicker packaging so I can put my thicker packaging back in the thickers, or put the thickers back in the thicker packaging, and then move on to embellishing and getting my journaling down. So I am just completing my journaling here with my Muji pen, talking about the spatza, so spatza is when they boil the sugar, or they boil the maple syrup till, I'm going to try to describe it to you, till it's like super, super thick, right? And then they take it and they pour it into cold, ice cold water, and then they stick a thing in it, like a stick or like a pick in it, kind of like a popsicle stick. So when you pull it out, it's like a big gooey ball of almost maple. It's not maple sugar candy. It's like taffy almost. Really interesting stuff. Anyway, my kids liked it, and it was a fun adventure for them to try it. So that's a lot of the photos in this part. That was a lot of our trip, was kind of like what I took a lot of pictures of, was the kids in that treat that they had. So there's both the boys with the spatza, and now we have our journaling and we have our title. So now I can just do a little bit of embellishing, and I'm going to decide that I don't want to do too much. I'm going to use this one little die cut tag to kind of start a little cluster. It's not going to be a huge cluster, just a small one. And I'm going to go ahead and utilize primarily this sticker book, because the scale of the stickers worked with the size that I had for my clusters. I'm going to use one of those cute little geotags because we were visiting somewhere, right? We were traveling, totally counts. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of these little phrase strip stickers too. So I'd like to share this with you. See this huge roll of tape? Okay, so this is foam tape. I got it at Amazon. I tried it because it's highly inexpensive. You get 100 feet, so you get two 50-foot rolls, two of these big mama rolls, two of them for $10. If you are someone who uses a lot of foam tape, you know what an amazing deal that is. Like, that's the bomb deal. And it's lovely. It's like the perfect thickness. It's nice and sticky. Comes on these big rolls. I am totally enamored and so excited to find this. It is not like air quotes scrapbooking foam tape, so it's not sold as scrapbooking foam tape, which I think is why it's so inexpensive actually. But it's pretty much foam tape. It's exactly like the Close to My Heart. They're foam tape rolls, and no foam tape is ever going to be archival safe or acid free. It's just not possible. The whole styrofoam popping up your photos, it just, it's not going to be perfect. But I don't care. So if you care, then you might want to not find the amazing deal on foam tape that I found at Amazon. But if you're just someone who wants to pop things up, like embellishments and such, this would be a really good option for you. Okay, so I'm just adding all of these little bits and bobs. You can see there how much I adored the Go Now Go puffy hearts. I have 4 packages of them. And actually, you know what? I'm down to 3 because I think I used one already. Initially, I bought 4. Initially, I also bought 4 packs of the Head in the Clouds puffy stickers too. Those puffy hearts are just the bomb. Okay. So you can see I'm adding one of those little foil stickers that goes with that collection. Some of these stickers need to restock, American Crafts. Stickers have one job, and we can't get it done. I don't know what's up with that. I'm going to fussy cut this cute camera and use it up at the top. Initially, I thought I was going to go ahead and tape this up with the Big Mama roll of foam tape, but I then decided that instead I would put it flat on the page and then add more puffy stickers, because you can never have too many puffy stickers. Let me rephrase. That's not entirely true. You can never have too many of Shimelle's puffy heart stickers. They are just the perfect, puffiest heart stickers ever. I'm also going to use some enamel dots. So what I decided was that instead of using Nuvo drops, I would get that look with these small enamel dots, and then I would be able to use up some of the embellishments from this collection and put those embellishments to good use. I added that little green tag up by the word festival. You'll see what I did with it after when you get to the close-ups at the end. I needed to check my phone that I was recording on to see what date exactly we had gone to this festival, and so I just used that as a date stamp. You can see there, like, that sticker's not sticking at all. It was so unsticky that I could just put tape runner down on it. And I'm just going to continue to add just these little enamel dots, use them up a bit, use up some of my Go Now Go stash. Part of me wants to hoard these Shimelle collections, I have to tell you, but then part of me is like, well, if I use it and I put it in my album, then it's in my album forever and I can always look back on it. And I don't want to get to a point where I get bored or where I don't like a collection anymore. Totally is a thing, and it happens, I promise you. Okay. I think this is it. I was thinking about fussy cutting another camera, but didn't really work. And yep, here we go. Here are all the close-ups. You can see there I added, another puffy heart and a date stamp. All right, that's going to conclude this week's Shimelle Sketches Reimagined. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day, Wednesday or Thursday. And I'll see you guys again for sure tomorrow. Bye.